everyone, Greta here. Today we are going to talk about how to get into a side curl, and this is actually a request. I find that side curl is actually a shape that is quite challenging. The reason is because you're leaning entirely on one side and you have to lift up. Yeah, I guess. It just is odd. And also locking off that twist, making sure that the twist is deep enough when you are actually entering that arm balance is the most challenging thing. So that is why a lot of people tend to get quite confused in side curl. They just don't know how to lift up. It's not because of the actual depth of the twist. Like, of course, when you are in a side curl, you need to have a deep twist. But actually, I found that a lot of people's twists are already deep enough for that arm balance. It's just they don't know how to keep that twist deep when they are in the arm balance. They tend to slide. The legs tend to slide down along and rest on the elbows. So that's why they have a difficult time to lift up into side curl. So I will be sharing with you things that are helpful to me and also helpful to the other practitioners when I teach this shape to them. And also there are a few ways of entering into side curl. And so throwing everything out onto the table and just see what make it work for you. All right? So let's check it out. Of course, for side curl, we have to work really strong in the arms, in the shoulders, in the lower abs, and also in the twist. So rather than just leading you through the entire warm up, I'll be just showing you some of the techniques and some of the things that you need to focus on when you're actually doing this warm up. Number one, the twist needs to be deep. So what I usually do is I usually do a twisted low lunge. So when I do the twist, I have the right leg forward and the left leg back. And then I just make sure that the hips are leveled. Okay? And then I do a very exaggerated move. I reach my left arm up, I hollow the body, I relax it a little bit, and then I lean on a diagonal direction to the outside of the right thigh. When I do this, I make sure that the right pelvis doesn't shift forward, it stays back. Okay? And I use my right hand to press my thigh in, and then I twist. Sorry, the sweat is quite thick. It's really cold in the house. And then making sure that the belly is close to the thigh. I want to lift the chest away from the thigh. Okay. And if you can't have the hand on the floor, do that, be it on a block or whatever. If your hands are staying in prayer, again, make sure that the twist is deep, i.e. the inside of the thigh is touching your belly, and you want to lift the entire chest away from the thigh. Okay. Because of this, the technicality of or the anatomy of this actual arm balance, that's why there are actually physical prerequisites for this. If you decide to have the hand on the outside of the foot, make sure that you can still keep that twist. It doesn't start to kind of loosen up. Okay? And you can stay here for as long as you like. Number two is how do we actually keep that twist deep when we are stacking the legs on top of the back of the arms. And this is a lot to do with your lower abs, core, but how to make it work. It's not just engaging the lower abs and like sucking the belly in. That doesn't really do it. So this following drill is actually quite helpful. So you start from tabletop, you extend the right leg to the back. Just make sure that when you're lifting the leg back, you don't arch. Okay, so cut out that back bend. Now belly hug in, activate every single muscle in the back leg. On exhale, you want to bring that right knee and aim it to that left elbow. Okay, make sure it's the elbow. Actually, you want to aim it to the armpit. There's no way you can touch the armpit, but you will be closer than aim it to the wrist. All right, so touch, then leg back, touch. Make sure you can actually feel that connection you cannot feel that connection, make sure that it's really, really close. You make an effort, round the spine, arms pushing the floor away. Right, and don't forget to do the other side. Number 3 is you really need to build that strength in this part of the body, like the shoulders in particular. So what I like to do with the people who practice lifting is a hybrid between a plank and a chaturanga. So plank, I'm sure everyone knows what it is. Chaturanga is just the bent elbows version. So you want to find a hybrid. And then what's so special about this hybrid is you want to make sure that you can still feel the puffing of the upper back, like the protraction of the shoulders, i.e. the shoulder blades are spreading, they don't want to collapse. Okay, so it's actually much easier and also at the same time more challenging to do it in a half plank, and this is exactly what we are going to do. So start from tabletop, walk your knees back a little bit, and this is your half plank. Just check you're not arching, okay? And then keeping the arms pushing the floor away. You want to feel that the upper back is broad, shoulder blades are spreading, and then belly hug in. Start to bend the elbows. Make sure when you bend them or unlock them, the elbows are pointing towards the back and not out to the sides. Okay, so don't cheat. Making sure that however much bend the elbows are, there's no collapse in the upper back. You don't want to have the chest coming down to touch the floor. Rather, you still want to keep the hug of the chest and aim the upper back up to the sky. All this time, your neck remains relaxed. All right, so those are just a few pointers. Of course, there are a lot more like core work and twists and all those stuff that you can work on. But then those are more generic. You can always, look those up, or maybe you already, have your own way to train your lower abs. Maybe just stay longer in a plank, or maybe do like other twists just to make sure that it's nice and tight. Now we are going to actually get into the actual arm balances side crow. Now there are 2 ways. One way is both elbows are supporting the body, and one way is just one elbow. The traditional way is you just balance the entire body on one arm. Okay, but let's start with both. So starting with both arms is easier because both arms are doing the same thing. But then the thing is, for this particular version, the twist needs to be deeper because you need to rest the side butt on the outside elbow. So make sure your twist is nice and tight. Now you want to start from a squat, and then you actually want to lift the heels very far away from the floor. So make sure your balance is okay for this one. Now what I do is I do this really exaggerated thing. Sorry, that's what I'm thinking again. Shift and twist. Now once I'm here, I need to use my lower abs to really feel that I could lock the twist there, okay, without just being as a passive twist. Now from here, my right hand will be about shoulder width apart, and you can see my elbow is resting on the side butt. I press both hands down, I lift my butt up, and I lean forward. I keep the chest leaning forward, and then I lift the bottom leg up first, and then the top leg would lift. And so that was the both arm version. Now I'll be doing the single arm version. That's the more of the traditional way, but then it's just the same thing. But for this one, it's a lot more challenging to a lot of people because one arm has all the body weight, the other arm has 0. So it throws a lot of people off. Entrance is the same, heels up, twist deep. Now I'm not doing mirror image. Left hand is on the floor, supporting the entire body weight, making sure, again, I'm using my lower abs to keep the legs in place. And then my right hand is on the outside, nothing to do. So for this right arm, making sure that when I bend the elbows, it doesn't wing out, it points to the back. I lift the butt up, I lean forward, and I keep leaning, right elbow hug in, bottom foot becomes light enough to float, the top leg would follow. Check, outside elbow in, I push, I push, I push. I try to find a hybrid between the plank and the chaturanga, keeping the upper back broad. So that is how I do it. When I do side crawl, the bottom leg always comes up first before the top leg, because the top leg could lift up very easily. But then once the top leg is lifted, that means my legs are actually separated. That makes it a lot more challenging. And then my body's even more confused because it's tricked by the top leg. So when I am able to lift the bottom leg up, that means that the bottom leg is also going to lift the top leg up as well, so they remain together. Another reason is that when I lift the bottom leg up first, it keeps the hips elevated. When I lift the top leg, maybe because of the legs being separated, the hips might come down, which is a big no-no for this arm balance. Also, another very important element, as you can see from the outside, I might be just leaning down, coming down, but actually what am I doing? I'm leaning forward, I'm lifting up. So when I'm actually doing the arm balance, let's say I'm on this mat, I'm actually looking this far away from me. So when I look forward, my chest would also lean forward. Again, that's just to compensate on that weight in the lower body. So that is my way of doing it, but then when I did a side crawl class a few weeks ago, there were other ways of entering, and so this is how they are going to look like. So starting is the same, that twist. Now for this one, I've heard that what you want to do is you want to walk the legs out, away to the side, and then you would feel that lift. For me, that didn't work. It just feels odd because I'm not a fan of, I'm not too fond of the idea of kind of stretching my legs away from me, because that just feels a little bit heavy. I like that my side crawl to be nice and tight. But then some people think it works for them because of the walking the legs forward. I guess it's because it helps to make the body go forward, maybe. Another way is a totally different entrance. It's kind of like a half squat thing. So the side that you're twisting to will be in a squat, and the other one will be the foot is on the floor. So you twist again, okay, and then you lean, and then you bring the legs together. The reason why there are so many ways of entering this arm balance is because, this one is tricky, and then there are so many different bodies. One way works for one kind of bodies, another way works for another type. So if you have time, feel free to explore all of them and see what works. But then something that's universal when you are in that shape, make sure that you are not collapsing. You still want to push and you're leaning forward. Forward is never enough. I've seen way too many people trying to get into the arm balance, but they just kind of crash down to the floor. So that's not gonna work. All right, so give it a go. Hope it works for you. Hope it's helpful. Leave me a comment, like the video, share it, and of course, don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already done so. All right, so I'll see you again soon. Take it easy.